Thank you, Naledi. Well, the interfaith prayers have just finished. Right now, what you're seeing is a chain comprising of everyone who is here as the closing prayer was being... Yeah.
You will see others leading you. Thank you very much. We're done.
Which then marked the end of the ceremony. After this, there is a breakfast is going to be served as people then prepare for the second part of the program, where President Cyril Ramaphosa will give a keynote address, and there will also be a wreath-laying ceremony. But the interfaith prayers here are done now. It was the Muslim faith, it was the Hindu faith, Baha'i, Christian faith, traditional African religion. All of them had their prayers, but we also got a bit of education about what each stands for, believes in, and the point of emphasis was that it's about uniting all of us and not discriminating against any religion. I am joined right now by Dr. Mathole Motshekga, who is, of course, a cultural expert, head of the Akara Heritage. Just to recap, Dr. Motshekga, if we will, again, how all of these faiths were brought together, the significance of it, but also the significance of holding this ceremony here, and it being the very first ceremony today, given everything else that is going to happen.
One of our great leaders, Oliver Tambo, in 1987, established the Department of Religious Affairs, which brought together all the spiritual traditions found in our country. In recognition of this spiritual and religious diversity, President Mandela in 1995 established the Commission for Cultural and Religious Affairs, which facilitated the establishment of what came to be known as the South African Interfaith Council, SAIC. Now, it is an established practice by our leadership that all religious and spiritual traditions, including African religion, should work together, and that's why President Mandela ensured that Freedom Park is established, which will be a sanctuary where the souls of the heroes and heroines of our country will be brought together. And then this Vivan where we are today, that is where these souls are gathered. That's why all religions and all our people, the families of the heroes and heroines, we come here to honor these souls, because we believe, especially as African people, that a human being, that there is no death. Those families who allowed their children to go and fight for our freedom should know that those children of theirs are only dead in their body, but they are alive in spirit. And we come here to honor them and to thank them, their parents, their families, our royal family and royal ancestors, and our God for actually having led us through slavery, through colonialism, through apartheid, to this day that we are able to stand tall and celebrate our freedom. So we are proud to be here in the company of the souls and spirits of the departed who made sure that we are free today. We have found our place in the community of nations.
Now, we've come to the end of the ceremony with all that history you have so eloquently put, and we've come to a part now where everyone was here is about, I'm going to step aside, everyone who is here is washing their hands. Talk to us, Dr. Motshekga, about the significance of that part at the very end of what we saw happening here over the last hour or so.
Our people believe that we came out of the waters of origin. When you grow up, they will, when the elders want to scare you, they will say Nunu. Nunu means the chaos out of which we came. You heard one prayer here about the lotus flower. That lotus flower, which symbolizes life, comes out of the swamp, comes out of the mud, and then washing our hands is really removing the dirt of where we come from that Nunu. And water is not only the source of life, water is also the means for cleanliness. And that's why we also talk about God as the great pool. So everything has got to be cleansed using water, and that's a very important symbol.
Of course, once we are done here, we will be moving all of us to the other side of isiVivana, but still here at Freedom Park, where President Cyril Ramaphosa will be speaking from, but also where he will also lead everyone else in laying wreaths. Thereafter, the families will then be allowed to take their loved ones and go and rebury their remains across the country's 9 provinces, where similar rituals will be observed, but also where similar processes will be followed in their respective provinces. Will it be any different from what we've seen on Wednesday and what we are seeing today and will continue to see over the next couple of hours?
Our leader, President Nelson Mandela, showed us the way. When he passed on from the hospital, the family led by Mandla Mandela would go and talk to him, tell him that we are here, Mkhulu, to take you home. And they take him to the Air Force, and they tell him that you are here at the Air Force, we're taking you to your birthplace. They flew not just with the remains, they flew with his spirit. When they arrived in Kunu, they went to Isibaya, because Isibaya, at a family level, that's where the ancestors gather. Then they tell him that we are brought home, meet your elders. And then that's where Inkaba fell. So they reconnect him with his birthplace, with his family, with his ancestors. Because if you have to ascend to the heavens where the most ancient ones and God stay, then you must depart from where you landed on earth. So President Mandela showed us the way, and in particular, he said to us that African tradition is no longer a superstition which must be replaced by other forms of religion. And he highlighted the central tenet of African religion, which is African humanism. Ubuntu, Wotu, Wunu. You find this concept throughout the vast continent of Africa, which means if there's one thing that unites us, which transcends race, tribe, and so on, is this African humanism, Ubuntu. Now, the families that are here are the families that understand the teachings of their ancestors, the teachings of President Mandela, They are not here to carry the remains. They are here to carry the remains and the spirits, the souls, because we believe that mele, pelo, le moya is what makes us a full humanity. So we want to wish these families well and say, you have done well by sacrificing your children, but your children are not dead. They see what we are doing now. The important thing is all of us must go back to our villages and say to our children that this freedom came because there are families that sacrifice their own so that we can be free. So we who have not sacrificed anything have a responsibility to make sure that we contribute to the building of a socially cohesive South Africa, which is prosperous, a country in which all of us will feel free. Our children can go to school without fear. Our mothers and sisters can walk the streets without anybody abusing and killing them without any reason.
Dr. Mathole Motshekga, let me thank you so much for your time, but also for your insights. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We are, of course, well, Dr. Motshekga really saying a lot. Let's, to conclude this part of what we've been doing this morning, let's bring in one of those families, a member of one of those families that Dr. Motshekga was talking about, the families that gave us their children, the families that sacrificed their own so that we could be free today. And I have with me a member of the Motshekga family. Florence Motshekga is, of course, one of the people who are heroines who are being honored here today. Just from seeing what happened this morning, what was going through your mind as you observed the interfaith prayers, but also as you saw the rituals that were being performed here?
What I saw is I was somehow emotional, thinking way back how my mom fought for South Africa, our country, that one day she thought she would be with us, but somehow it didn't happen. But all the same, I'm happy.
She made the sacrifice that many of us didn't make. You must be proud indeed.
Yes, I am proud. I'm very, very proud of what my mom did for our nation, South Africa, and everybody. And those who were with her in the struggle, who fought for our country up to the last day in their life.
Dr. Motshekga just now was talking about the kind of country that your mother fought, sacrificed for. Are you happy about how things have turned out, especially over the past 30 years?
Oh, well, I'm happy. I'm happy and overwhelmed as well. But today South Africa is what it is because of all of them who fought for the country.
I think everyone who's here is proud of what your mother did. Thank you very much for sharing a few minutes with us. Well, of course, Florence Motshekga was in Alexandra, born in Alexandra back in 1921. She, of course, was a qualified teacher, but ended up doing domestic work, as everyone who lived in this country before 1994 would know how things were so abnormal. People who were qualified in this or the other thing, but ended up doing jobs that often had very little, if anything, to do with what they studied. Of course, proceedings here are going to continue right now. As I was saying earlier, the families are being taken for a bit of breakfast, as, of course, they await the second ceremony where President Cyril Ramaphosa will speak. Well, there'll be a wreath-laying ceremony as well, and of course other people will be remembering and honoring the 42 people whose remains came back from Zambia and Zimbabwe on Wednesday. That ceremony is expected to start in about an hour's time or so after everyone will have had breakfast. But from here at Isivivane, where the interfaith prayers were held, but also where there was a full display, of South Africa in all its diversity, we are going to hand back to studio for now, as we move, of course, to the other side of Freedom Park. I wish we could, hopefully we will at some point take you through the road from Isivivane, the path rather, from Isivivane all the way to the other side, just to remind South Africans about what this place what this place is about, and what has been done in this place over the years, and why it was the place of choice for this particular ceremony, given the role that these heroes and heroines have played in bringing our country to where it is, far from the ideal, no doubt, but it is, of course, work in progress. This place was, one of the key features of this place is a whole wall of remembrance where heroes and heroines, people who fought in World Wars I and II, people who fought the South African wars. There were many of them, as historians and other people would know, but also where people who died during apartheid are, of course, being honored. So the path you are seeing now goes out of Isivivane, and it's quite a distance, by the way, difficult for many people to travel on foot. As you can see, the cut in front of you is taking the more elderly people, or also those who are finding it difficult to walk it. But it's an incredible amount of work went into building this heritage site, and over the years they have kept on improving on it, but it's almost done now. I think all the phases have been completed, but we're going to end it here for now, and then later on we will, of course, bring you the second part of the ceremony, which is the main part of today's ceremony, where President Cyril Ramaphosa will be giving that address. For now, though, let's hand back to you in studio.